What's up everyone, it's Adam from Life of Adam and I'm back with a brand new lifeguarding video. If you guys aren't already subscribed or if you're new to the channel, I make a bunch of lifeguarding content about how to pass the course, how to pass the pretest, how to become a successful lifeguard, basically everything you need to know. So definitely consider subscribing and liking the video if you're new to the channel. Now today we're gonna be talking about scanning as a lifeguard. How do you spot swimmers that need help? How do you find distressed swimmers? How do you find active drowners, passive drowners? Everything you need to know about spotting swimmers that need your help so that you can save them and you can use your training to the best of your ability and to prevent emergencies from occurring. Now in the lifeguarding course, they emphasize the importance of scanning the pool. That's basically how lifeguards do their job, is by scanning the pool. Oftentimes when you're working at a pool or a lake or a beach, you're gonna be divided into different zones. So whatever lifeguard stand you're at, whatever station you're at, you're responsible for a certain area that they outline clearly when they hire you. It's basically the facility rules. Now within your certain zone, do not fall into the trap of counting swimmers. I know a bunch of lifeguards that think, oh, if I just count 10 swimmers, I can sit back, relax, and then a minute later count 10 swimmers, and that does the job for me. I just keep track of the number of swimmers. Although keeping the track of the number could be helpful, I know in the lifeguarding course, they say do not rely on that, but over time, sometimes it's good just to keep a head count on top of scanning and the tips I'm about to give you. But I want you to stay away from only relying on counting, because if there's a new swimmer that comes in, a new swimmer that leaves, you might lose track of the specific swimmers themselves. So maybe someone needs your help and you think it's the same number of people because someone enters the pool and you don't see them entering the pool. That's just like a very specific scenario, but it's very important that you do what I'm about to say. The number one thing when it comes to scanning pools and spotting swimmers that need your help is scanning the volume of the pool, the entirety of the pool. You don't want to just scan just the surface. You want to scan below the surface. You want to get your eyes into a routine. Some people like to go along the sides or like the edges and work their way in. Other people like just to do like zigzags or like lines that go up and down when they scan. These are just like eye patterns that people like. It's personal preference. There's no set way of doing it. As long as you cover your entire zone with whatever eye pattern you want, and on top of that, you look below the surface. Sometimes you're sitting at a chair and you can't really see it. There's like a blind spot maybe like right underneath your feet. So sometimes like a pool like over the edge, it's kind of hard to see the bottom right in front of you. In that case, you want to get up, walk around for a bit and look along the sides. Maybe once every couple minutes. You just want to keep track of those areas because you do not want to forget about them, and then God forbid something happens in that area that you don't see and the swimmers needed your help for a long time and you didn't notice. They talk a lot about this in the course, the importance of scanning the bottom of the pool, but now that you know you got to scan the entire zone up and down, no matter how deep or how shallow it is, it's very important to look at expressions of the swimmers. Almost every time an active swimmer needs your help, let's say they're in the center of the pool and they're too tired and they start to panic, they will look at you with a worried face. That's the number one sign. If you see an active swimmer who's struggling, I mean, that's a pretty big sign, but if you look at their face and they look worried, that's like a go sign for you. It's very important to read expressions very well, because sometimes they could be playing a game, like a very common game, they're just playing tag or they're just seeing who can tread the longest. I know that doesn't sound like the safest game, but sometimes you don't know if they need your help, but you also don't want to sit back and do nothing, because then they might start to sink and swallow water and stuff like that. So reading facial expressions is very important and it'll get you a really good sign of what you need to do. Now another thing to keep track of is the strength of swimmers. Within your zone, you'll notice the swimmers that look very comfortable and confident and they swim very naturally and effortlessly. Those are good swimmers. Although you still have to watch them, you know in the back of your head, like, okay, if this person goes to an area where they can't stand, they're pretty much gonna be fine because they look really good at swimming. However, if you're watching swimmers that look kind of weak and they're doing doggy paddle or they're doing front crawl, but you often notice that they turn around and fall on their back a lot because they get tired or they're kind of staying close to the wall, you have to pay extra attention towards those people, because those are most likely gonna be the people that need your help. Now, another tip you can do is using your voice and communicating. A lot of people forget that lifeguards and swimmers, you can talk back and forth. If someone's swimming and you ask them, hey, are you doing all right? And they say, yeah, that's like all the reassurance you need to know. I've done that all the time. I see a swimmer in the deep end, they're coughing, maybe they swallowed water a little bit. I say, hey, are you okay? And they'll be like, yeah, they'll give me the thumbs up. That gives me all the reassurance I need, and it looks good on me because I'm noticing them and I'm asking them a question to make sure they're okay. Communicating is so important as a lifeguard when it comes to telling people to stop doing things that could be dangerous, but it's also good to just be on the same page and make sure everyone is safe. So now this is my last tip. Now this involves passive victims. Passive victims are a little bit more scary because they don't yell for help, they don't splash around, they don't look at you with a worried face. They kind of just sink below the surface. Now these are obviously a lot more rare because it could be like a condition that they might have, or maybe they're just drowning, they swallow a bunch of water. I know it sounds kind of like scary, I'm not trying to freak you guys out, but in order to spot these types of victims, just remember the importance of scanning the whole volume of the pool. That was just my first tip. I'm kind of doing a double tip here, just underlying the importance of that. That is one of the main reasons why you do that. Now I remember when I was a kid, I used to play this game with my friends where you like try to hold your breath the longest underwater. And what I would do is like when you play dead, it kind of helps you last longer in the water because you're holding your breath. So sometimes you're gonna get this kid, this swimmer. I actually made a video on this because it's kind of a tricky situation where someone's holding their breath underwater, but they're like doing the dead man's float. So it looks like they might need your help. I recommend watching my video that I made on it. I'll link it down below in the description. But a little spoiler from that video, the main point is don't sit back and do nothing about it. Don't just hope that they're playing a holding their breath underwater contest, because every second is super valuable in terms of saving someone who's underneath the water and is a passive victim. So scan below the surface, on top of the surface, the perimeter, everything you do with your zone. If there's a blind spot, if there's an area hard to see, maybe because of the sun, you wanna walk around the pool and kind of get a better angle pretty often. And you wanna communicate with the swimmers, you wanna look at their facial expressions, and you always wanna be on top of things, and you always wanna be alert. So I hope you found this video helpful. Definitely like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.